Hey, what's up, you guys? John from... Oh, sorry. Hey, what's up, you guys? John from Old Reading Farm here. Hey, what's up, you guys? John from Old Reading Farm here, shooting from inside of our nice and cold house. In today's video, I'm going to go through and tell you exactly how much money we made last year. We didn't make any. Just kidding. Well, not really. Let's get into it. So we're going to go through all of our numbers from last year in terms of farm costs and net profit, all that kind of thing. You know, we just finished this up for our tax prep for this past year. It was our first real year designated as an actual farm in our state. So we took, really good records. And so we used a system called Wave, which was a free accounting software. And in the beginning of the year, it was awesome because you could take a picture of the receipt and it would upload it, and it would also use the information in that receipt to fill in all the transactional details like the vendor, the cost, all that kind of thing. But then it was bought out by some big accounting software company and they deleted that feature. So we were kind of stuck, and so we used it for the rest of the year, but it was a big pain in the butt. So this year we're just using an Excel sheet, and I have it set so that it's like up in the cloud so that Catherine can also enter expenses, so that way we're both keeping track and it's not just on one of us, which is a big help. Thank you, Catherine. All right, so now let's get into the numbers. Click. All right, so here you can see all of our overall costs. And I basically broke it up into 4 categories: alpacas, chickens, overall, and capital investments. Now, we did have a few streams of income last year from our previous house and, previous ventures. We rehomed some of the emus that we hatched last year. We did sell some of our chickens from our old house, and we did some plant starts and flowers. Those aren't their own categories just because it's so small and the costs are kind of intertwined there, but I will include them in the overall cost and the overall income. So, starting with alpacas, the cost for keeping our alpacas last year was $8,532.42. And so what that includes over here is processing the alpaca fiber, which was really expensive. So it was $2,500 just for that. But that, we can't make hats, we can't sell yarn if it's not processed. So it's kind of a necessary cost there. Or I'm sorry, that's actually our income from that. The cost was $2,200. Not much different. But let's see. So then we had alpaca feed, which includes their grain, and that was $2,200 for the year, which honestly I don't think is that bad. Maybe that is a little expensive, but we make sure we give our alpacas both a regular alpaca grain and like a textured kind of feed that's much nicer. And then in terms of hay, we spent $3,548.73 on hay last year. So I think part of the issue there was we sort of couldn't find enough hay at the time, and we also increased the number of alpacas that we got, so our rate of hay eating skyrocketed. And we weren't really sure exactly how much we would need, so we kind of had to get some piecemeal. Also, last year was a bad year for hay because there was such intermittent rain, and like when it rained, it poured, and then it would just be dry for a really long time, which apparently is bad for hay. Who knew? So it was tough to get hay, and so we ended up getting a lot of hay. And now I'm looking out my window right now, and I can see we have 10 or 12 square bales that are big. So we have like probably 20,000 plus pounds of hay that are sitting out there under a tarp right now. So we should be good for a long time. So even though we spent that much money, which again was $3,500, hopefully that'll pull us through a significant portion of this year, and we won't have to spend as much this year. So, it's one of those things where it kind of falls over into the next year. And so that's the main costs for there. And again, we did build 2 alpaca barns and as well as 2 pastures, so fencing and structures. That I'm going to include in the overall cost just because I can't go through and pick out, what the cost was for the alpaca barns versus the chicken coops, etc. Anyway, so overall for alpacas, the cost was $8,532, and our income was $4,000. $837, which includes the alpaca fiber that we sold that was just yarn, as well as the hats that Catherine made last year, which were super great. And Catherine did a tremendous job with that, as well as, thank you to our whole family who helped us make all those hats, and thank you to everybody who bought them. And that was a great thing that we, because we had talked for a long time, what are we going to do with all this fiber? People who sew and knit are kind of a niche, like you either knit or you don't. So the alpaca yarn itself only is a very small market, but everybody has a head, so everybody wears a hat. So it's nice to kind of expand it that way. So as you can see, we basically lost $3,700 on the alpaca. Again, I think a significant portion of that was the hay, and hopefully this year we are more efficient with our hay. Hopefully they eat less and are just as happy, and I think we'll do better going forward. I think we're still trending in the right direction. We're still figuring things out here. We'll see. Moving on to chickens. So the overall cost for our chickens last year was $5,457.24. And so that includes, let's see. So there was so we spent $1,500 on hatching eggs last year.
Editing Catherine here. I just want to say those hatching eggs were all approved purchases. Nobody did anything without asking, and a lot of them were emus, so take that, John.
Just on hatching eggs. Wow. Well, anyway, we were trying to build up our flock. We needed to have the cool chickens. And that's sort of like a capital investment in our chickens, because once we get the eggs, we grow the chickens and we start selling the eggs ourselves. So that's a lot to spend on eggs, but I think we have some quality chickens down there. We're going to have some quality stock. So there's that. Let's see, what else we got here? So animal bedding, $742. So that includes both the pine pellets that we put down in the run to absorb the moisture, as well as the pine shavings that go into the coop. So $800 across 13 coops. It's not that bad. I think that's fine. Chicken feed, we spent $3,100 on chicken feed, which again, I think for the number of chickens that we used to have, because we had probably 150 egg-laying chickens that we ended up rehoming because we're on like sort of a dead-end street and it's tough to set out an egg table. So, the egg layers just for eating eggs weren't going to really work for us where we're at. So, let's see. I think that's about it. For the chickens, it was pretty straightforward. Coop, food, water, bedding. There's no fiber processing with chickens. So, anyway, our income from chickens was $4,242.50. And so that includes hatching eggs, for which look at that. So we actually sold $1,100 of eating eggs last year, which is, that's a lot, $5 eggs. But $1,200 in hatching eggs. And so Catherine is just a master at Facebook and did a really good job selling our hatching eggs. I think a lot of silked white Easter eggers, and we only really had hatching eggs available for half the year. So hopefully that's a portent of things to come, and that we'll continue to do better. I think we've already sold a ton this year, and they've barely been laying. So that's exciting. I think that's going to go far this year. And just looking at the numbers, from 30,000 feet, it looks like chickens have the potential to be profitable this year. Fingers crossed. And then we also, so like I said, we sold a bunch of our chickens when we moved, and then again we sold the laying chickens when we were here. So that's $1,700 right there, which is great. But again, let's see. So that's pretty much it. That all works pretty well. So again, our net profit there was negative $1,200. But like I said, I think that's we spent $1,500 just in capital investments in hatching eggs. And even though we spent, some more money on hatching eggs this year, it's one of those things in general that's a one-time cost that extends over the lifetime. So, even though we spent $1,500 in hatching eggs, we're going to make that back. And we actually almost did this past year. So that's a positive. All right, so overall, to do all of the things that we did last year on our new farm, including alpacas, chickens, emus, peafowl, and also including some of our costs from last year, including like soil and, you know, setting up our plant starts, etc. Everything around $36,000, which is an awful lot. Now, our overall farm income was around $10,000, $10,561. Now, that means we had a net profit last year of negative $25,438.60, which, as you may know, is not a good way to run a business. But anyway, what I did here is I also included our capital investments, which are things like building, and I have a category for land reclamation. You know, we had somebody come out and dig out all the stumps for our flower farm area, and we also had somebody come and spend a couple days and chip a whole bunch of brush here. Also taking down some trees, stuff like that. So with all those capital investments, which are really one-time costs that should extend over the lifetime, $14,000. So our adjusted net profit, which, you know, basically I took the negative 25 from our overall net profit and subtracted the 14 from it, since that's, you know, going to be a lifetime thing. Our adjusted net profit is negative $10,000, or negative $10,755.52. So again, still a lot to lose, but I think you can better see the future there. You know, taking the capital investments out of there and understanding that that is an investment in this property that's going to hopefully go on for a very long time. You know, pulling the stumps out is a one-time expensive deal, but then those stumps are gone, baby. Don't have to worry about them again, no more roots, all that. So as you can see, we didn't make any money last year. So it's a good thing that we both have full-time jobs. So, yes. But I think, you know, looking at all these numbers, there's hope for the future. You know, and I think, especially looking at the chickens, I would imagine that we're going to be profitable on the chickens this year, because, you know, we really sort of figured out our groove, just sort of figured out what works. And especially if Catherine keeps doing such a crazy good job on Facebook, we're going to do well. The alpacas, I think, is going to be tough. Hopefully hay isn't as expensive this year. Last year it was tough and it was really expensive. And hopefully we have enough hay to sort of go for a long time. So hopefully our costs there will go down. And yeah, we are going to still be doing some capital investment this year. We still have some land to clear here, and we still have a few things to build. So again, it's going to be another year of you know, definite losses. But I think we can see some sectors that will be profitable, and yeah. And so I think 2023 is a year where we're not going to have any of these really huge expenses, and hopefully then we can actually make some money on this farm. Because I think the goal is, you know, eventually me and Kat do the farm, you know, full time. We'll see. But for right now, it is just a hobby that we have a great time at. It's a lot of fun. And we're glad to be able to share this with you. And if you guys know of a free accounting software that you really like, you can feel free to share it with us. You know, like I said, going forward, we're just going to be using an Excel file because that's just easier on both of us. If you have any questions about, you know, taxes or whatever, you should probably talk to an accountant. But, you know, I have some experience with that. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see if I can answer you. Obviously, none of this is tax advice. None of this is finance advice. This is just us telling you what we do. Anyway, thank you guys very much for sticking around to the end of this video. We really appreciate it. Please give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and as always, please subscribe. Oh, and let me introduce you to someone new. This is Mushu. He's our new emu. So cute. Yeah. So we're hatching out emus We have 2 more in the hatcher now. 2 more eggs. So hopefully we'll have more. Thanks for watching.